hello, beautiful, beautiful star seeds, light warriors, multi-dimensional beings, and quantum access beings. Welcome back, or hello if you're new to another channel reading and message for you, beautiful souls. I read for the rising souls of the collective, those of you who have been on this journey of accelerated ascension and awakening, who have had the veils revealed to you or pulled back from you, or you've realized how the veils have always been pulled back for you in particular ways. You guys, the rising souls of the collective, the incarnated earth angels, the incarnated light warriors, the incarnated star seeds and higher dimensional beings, with a remembrance of that, you have found your transmission, you have found your message. And today's message and transmission is very, very beautiful. It actually made me cry before I even came on here. Can't lie to you guys. There's something different about this one today. So the message coming through for you, beautiful souls, is that you have a really high level angel, a seraphim, on your spirit team, and there's a lot that goes into this, you guys. You have a very, very high level angel spirits working on your team who have been really closely connected to you throughout your whole incarnation, and they're amplifying right now and sending you a lot of amplified connection, reaching out to you, sending you big massive synchronicities, channelings. And we'll get into why this is and what they're doing, how they're assisting you, or how they've been energetically working with you. You guys, the message also coming through is that you watching this, seriously, this came through so strongly. You were a seraphim before this or during this. Time is happening simultaneously. You have many, many incarnated frequencies. You guys, you are consciousness in its infinite forms, and you've re-remembered this, but you also re-remembered that you're in parallel planes, parallel multiverses, and parallel dimensions all at the same time. Our mind and our consciousness perceives us in singularity and within linear time, but you guys have been breaking into your non-linear consciousness, which means that not only have you been tapping into your non-linear nature through time, okay, ancient past lives, you guys being in incarnation and in conscious operation in other parallel dimensional planes, you have expanded your consciousness to maybe have some recollection of this other work that you're doing in other planes. Now, why I find this so interesting is because you guys, in another frequency plane that you are connected to, you channel with, there's a piece of your consciousness in this higher frequency plane, and it is of the seraphim's frequency. This is an angelic frequency, an angelic plane. Why it's an angelic plane is because all of the dimensional planes of the astral are made up by frequency. Now, this particular frequency plane is associated with angels and seraphim because of its vibrational frequency, love and above. This vibrational frequency of the purest, unconditional, authentic love, you are extremely connected to, and you are incarnated as a fractalization, having a connection to that frequency to channel that through you here. There is a particular angels and seraphims that channel through you, that work through you, and this is not just the physical things you say or you do or you think. These are frequencies of energy that are extremely powerful and extremely healing, that you carry within your tone, your voice, within your vibrational field. Again, being connected to these particular planes of frequency is almost like having an open gateway to them inside of ourselves. And when we tune into that gateway, we tune into that frequency, and we become a vessel, a conduit for translating that frequency in and around us. We radiate the frequencies we're connected to. We are like batteries or vessels of amplification. We're a bit like crystals. Like how your seraphim brings through is that you are a crystal in yourself. We see crystals with these beautiful, intricate, geometric, sacred geometry, complex structures that make up these crystals through millions of years. You are a crystal, you guys, and your energy, your crystallization of your light frequencies in your auric field amplifies the planes of frequency that you're connected to. You guys are extremely connected to a particular seraphim, and why this was so trippy for me personally is because I did a reading on my other shorter channel, which I'll link the link to that below if you're ever curious, but I have a shorter channel where you do just kind of pop-up readings and stuff. And the most synchronistic thing happened when we started channeling a dragon guide who ended up being connected to an angelic frequency. So this was the other day, right, and the sun was coming out. There were so many synchronicities in that reading. And then why I find this interesting is because ever since then there has been a seraphim coming through from another deck and another energy, but it's connected and the same as this energy. So this angel has been coming through in very, very strong, powerful ways, in multiple different ways of connection. And why I found this interesting is because they came through as a seraphim in another deck, bringing through lots of symbolism of the eyes. You know, you see the depictions of angels with 6 wings, eyes, and also almost as if you have rings and you can put them all together, or you can fan them out into like an atom symbol, or they can align to be just rings inside each other, right? There's this seraphim frequency coming through, like those angels, eye angels, or the 6 wings. And on the card that we pulled for this angelic frequency, it was a solar angel to begin with, you guys, golden light frequencies. And on the card, they have 6 wings. Like, this is a seraphim. This is not just an angel connected to a Lumiere, which, by the way, if you didn't see this reading or that reading, this was the dragon Illumia. This is a solar angel, and this angel, I don't want to say I forgot about them, right? But they've come back again because this angel guide was extremely close in your spirit team, or you were extremely closely connecting to this particular frequency a while back, you guys, because we did a reading already channeling this particular seraphim, and I will leave that reading linked down below. And that is who is coming through. And they want me to read you the card from the deck of the seraphim because this is highly relevant for you guys. There's a lot of information that they are channeling through for and about you, and also confirmational things about experiences they've had connecting with you that can be helpful too. Like for some of you with the Seraphim's Gateway in this deck, it's all about voice activation, angelic attunement, and divine support. But a lot of you, actually, I'll tell you after we read this. So, the seraphim are the highest form of angelic beings who are said to radiate from the heart of Source. They have been described in many different ways through the ages, but what is common is the idea that a brilliant light emanates from them. The word seraphim means burning ones, for in the ancient times, light was associated with fire, as this was the main source of light within homes. I also found that part cool because from the dragon deck, when I was channeling, I said, oh, the sun's out could be a fire dragon, and it ended up being a solar dragon. So I mistake the light for fire. And it's funny because like these beings, these seraphims, are very connected through time with light frequencies, plasma frequencies. But again, this can also be connected with fire because fire produces the light frequency too. It's just slightly different. But you guys, yeah, so these are solar angels. Archangel Uriel is the card for connected to a Lumiere. But yeah, so these beings of infinite light are essentially divine love that is taking on an angelic form in order to serve the universe. Remember that all these frequencies, where we talk about angels, we talk about dragons, these can be in any forms. They are a frequency, and frequencies can be materialized in infinite states of physical perception. But you guys, they are the same frequency. So this is what we're really channeling here, is that within the astral planes, the infinite multiverse, there are particular planes of frequency that are maybe past the veil. And what we talk about with that is that they're past the visible light spectrum, or anything you can see here in the physical. All these things in the physical, like these plants, like these paintings, they're all of a particular vibration, so that we can see them. We can't see all of them because there's so much energy put into these things that we can't see, that is past the visible light spectrum, which we can train to see, you know, like auras, things like that, or we can feel through our other senses. But these angelic beings, these frequencies, are purely past the veil, meaning they do not have any physical materialization, but they will send you physical materializations through the frequencies they can embody physically. For example, a seraphim's frequency can embody consciousness of, say, a sunset and talk to you through the sun in the clouds, or in many different ways. Seraphim channel through other angels incarnated who are connected to their particular frequency plane too. And like they say, this is a gateway of dimensional plane that you access through your heart chakra center, your energy center of the heart chakra. Remember, all of our chakras have different colors and different frequencies, and we hold the multiverse of infinite planes of frequency within our auric field, between our different chakra centers, all of these like layers of frequency dimensions with all their own unique vibration, you know, from the root chakra, or from red all the way up to purple, indigo, the highest of the color light spectrum. We hold all of those vibrations within our auric field because of our chakras. And you know, this is like, to connect with the seraphim's frequency, you have to go through the gateway, through your heart space, through that center. So this is connecting through the quantum planes, through particular frequencies that you have accessible to you to tap into. One of these, again, accessing the seraphim's frequency, very sentimental, something we can't even describe fully sometimes, with the type of love that you feel when you channel these beings, when you connect to these beings. They have also been sending major synchronicities through orchids, okay, you guys, like orchids literally everywhere. This seraphim, they send so many synchronicities of orchids. Again, Jacob's ladders, lights that illuminates behind clouds that almost looks like a gateway in the sky. Someone could have seen that recently. There is a really powerful seraphim on your team, and you are connected to seraphim frequency. Like we're saying, all of the different dimensional quantum planes or vibrational frequencies are in and surrounding you and within you, and you know this. But as a quantum access being, a shaman incarnated, you will be able to connect with more planes than the average person. I don't say that to be better or to make anyone's ego bigger. It's literally facts, you guys, because this is like, it's facts, because being at a higher level of consciousness means you're more sensitive, which means that you process subtle frequencies through your senses, meaning that you see more shades of color, you feel more variations of particular frequencies, right? Because let's say each color, let's say red, it's like we have all the colors, right? But to think about the infinite shades of those colors is incomprehensible, because there's infinite amounts of shades of color. You know, there's in between blue, in between purple, there's like there can be shades of color with undertones of other colors. It's like, this is kind of you emotionally, this life incarnated. You're extremely sensitive. You feel extra shades of frequency that are sometimes unperceivable to others. The same as like you know how it's said sometimes some people can see more shades of color than others. I think it was done in a study. It was like females can see more shades of color than males, but you know, maybe it's not really to do with female or masculine. I think it's to do with our state of consciousness and our vibrational frequency, because in the higher dimensional planes we go, the more receptive we are to subtle energy, the more we can see subtle differences in energy, right? Which means that subtle differences in shades of colors look different in higher dimensional states of consciousness or planes. The same as when we visit higher planes on visitation, when we do psychedelics or something, colors look different, things look different in higher dimensional planes, and you can receive a lot more subtle information. It's almost as if everything becomes more detailed in these higher planes. But you guys, you were incarnated with a lot of this receptivity, which means that you are accessing gateways of feeling to frequency planes that are shades of emotion that are very complex, because everyone's felt maybe sadness, but you felt shades of emotion that are very, very complex, because they're almost woven in very intricately with other feelings, other energies. And there's something about you having, like we said in this other reading, connected to the Venusians. Okay, so this seraphim could also have incarnated connections to the Venusian energy or Venus beings, Venusian Galactic Council, Venusian Starseed race. This seraphim gateway is very much through the heart space. But you guys, you have past incarnations too, or connections to the Venusian frequency through your heart space. you have heightened empathic, telepathic abilities. Your heart is a second brain. Like we said before, your heart is receiving a lot of emotional frequencies and can actually recognize and familiarize with particular frequencies that are hard to find or experience because of their subtle nature or their encompassing nature. Like you guys connecting with these seraphim frequencies can make us feel a type of love that makes us want to cry, that makes us feel so vulnerable, but in the gentlest, most beautiful way. And you carry this frequency because you're able to attune to it within your heart space. Again, you have an extremely open heart chakra. There's so many informational points of truth that back up these statements that I wish we could go into, because they branch out into infinity, okay? Between the vibrational planes that you have access to within your chakras, the gateways you have access to within your chakras, and you know, these different frequencies or states of consciousness that you have connected to through time or have always been connected to, because you guys in another dimensional plane, maybe in another way we could say this, after you die in this incarnation or before you incarnated in this form, it's almost as if you spent time in an energetic plane that was not materializable on earth, yet your consciousness existed within a frequency plane which was this seraphim's frequency. You did angelic work in this frequency. Some of you, and like I say, we said it that way, but in looking at this in non-linear time, you are in this plane right now and you're already doing work in there. You may have these weird recollections of experiences where you can't tell whether they're a dream, whether they were astral projection, where they happened to you, but you may have these memories of doing work almost as a ghost, right? And now this is hard to explain, and this will be more relevant for other people, but maybe you guys, it's relevant for all of you. It's just that some of you have recollected memories of this, and some of you, this is still stored information, that you have done angelic seraphim work within dimensional planes where you would have looked like you can't be seen. So an experience of this can be like, I tell you, a personal experience can be, for example, again, no recollection of before or after, but once I had this experience of meeting this little boy who was about 3 years old, and I can tell you the place we're in, I can just tell you there's a lot of chaos around. And cut long story short, this boy could see me and he was extremely scared and confused. And for some reason, I knew him, I knew what to do, I knew where his mum was, I knew he'd lost his mum, and that's why he was confused. There was a lot of chaos around. And anyway, like, so me and this little boy, like, we walked together and I gave him such love, and I was like, it's okay. We found his mum. And as soon as like I got him to his mum, because in my mind, like, I didn't know if this was a dream, astral projection, if this was real life. His mum could not see me, and he was like 3 years old, of the age where it's like he could see me and know I was there and acknowledge me, but he wouldn't be able to describe that to his mum or anyone. All his mum knew was that she found him again. They were lost, they reconnected, but me and this little boy walked around and found his mum together. And the thing is that it honestly makes me emotional, you guys, because there's a lot of work we do in angelic planes that we don't always remember nor recall, because there's a lot of things that we are blocked off from visually seeing here frequency wise. Angels walk around us all the time, angels work through us all the time, and you have experienced this angelic assistance. This is divine alignments. Like we say, this would have just been like this little boy and his mum just crossing paths in divine time. But what is that? We are walked with and assisted all the time. I also think that a lot of you, you are open to mediumship abilities and your third eye sense in this physical. And maybe sometimes you've seen shadows behind you, or when you're on walks, you see maybe people behind you and you turn around and no one is there. There are seraphims and ancestors that walk with you all the time, and your peripheral vision is picking this up, because our peripheral vision is the vision that can see those visible frequencies past the light spectrum. And the more we work on those visions, the more our peripheral starts bringing that round to our forefront. Some of you could have seen spirits, angels, or guides before in physical form. Some of you could have seen these as orbs. Some of you could have been seeing orbs recently, or again seeing physical interpretations or materializations of these guides within clouds, suns, things like this, orchids, synchronicities. There's really no limit as to what energy can take on a form of, right, or work through. And so We haven't even got through the book message, you guys. But this is them. The beings of infinite light are essentially divine love that is taking on an angelic form in order to serve the universe. When they have appeared physically, they have been described as having 6 wings. They are known for their heavenly voices. And look, this literal card, Illumia, is one of the dragons in the dragon deck who is connected to angelic frequencies as well. They come as a pair. Not all the dragon cards are like this. And this card on here, this isn't the book from this card deck, but this says about 6 wings, and this angel, out of all the cards in this deck, is the only card with an angel with 6 wings, also connected to solar light frequencies, and also the only card we've channeled this angel with before as well. So when they have appeared physically, they have been described as having 6 wings, and they are known for their heavenly voices. In fact, miraculous planetary shifts are reported to take place when they sing. In the heavenly realms, they sing in constant praise of their creator. And other angelic presences report them with regard to their spiritual duty, report to them. As it were, it doesn't operate in such a linear way, but this is the best way for us to understand this process. Yeah, when it says like other beings report to them for duty, it's that when we talk about energies, right, there's a source core of frequency, and now from this source core of frequency there are smaller fractalizations or separations of this frequency. We look at these solar angels, these seraphim, as the source core embodiment of the unity of this particular frequency. You are a fractalization of this frequency. Other angels like Archangel Uriel or the Dragon Illumia is a fractalization of this frequency. This frequency in its unity is a frequency. It's just so many things can physically birth from a particular frequency. The same as like as consciousness, we are one united frequency. We're all just separated parts of that frequency. And so it's like you are connected to the seraphim's frequency. You're an incarnated fractalization of the seraphim's frequency, or you're incarnated and connected to the seraphim's frequency, this source of frequency in the dimensional planes through your being. And why this is cool is because I said this frequency plane is past the veils. This frequency plane is so high vibrational that it is in quantum realms. It's in subtle energy form. It's in quantum particle form. It's so small. It's so high vibrational. It's so delicate, but also so very powerful. So let's see, some of you could have also heard an angelic choir come and sing to you before, and this is the part that made me cry as well, because this has actually happened before as well. But the angelic choir is like you guys physically, either internally inside yourself, or it could have sounded like it was outside of you, like there's a TV playing some choir, church choir singing or something. It was the most beautiful sounds, and then you realized it wasn't nowhere around you. You are hearing the seraphim. The seraphim came to sing to you. Some of you could also listen to binaural frequency beats or particular angelic choirs, or maybe some of you like to go to cathedrals or churches and listen to choirs or that type of singing. Maybe someone listens to a particular artist who's connected to the seraphim's frequency. This can be a modern day artist, or this can be an artist who was incarnated in the Renaissance period for some of you, or more ancient times, that like their music's been carried over. But you guys, there's certain beings incarnated connected to the seraphim's frequency, and a lot of beings incarnated connected to the seraphim's frequency tend to be connected as well to the arts or expression of some type of form, because connecting to this seraphim's frequency, you are naturally going to want to express this, because what is expression? It's basically just that frequency wanting to pour out of our vessel. We are vessels of flowing conduits. We're not meant to hold energy, we're meant to flow energy through us in our natural state, in our natural nature. And so when you're connected to these frequency planes, they naturally want to flow through you. And so a lot of people connected to the seraphim frequency, really enjoy singing. Even if you don't think you have a good singing voice, you enjoy singing. Or maybe some of you are singers, maybe some of you are songwriters, maybe some of you are poets, maybe some of you are speakers, maybe some of you are mentors, teachers, maybe some of you are people who speak love for others, or who write really beautiful things. Even in birthday cards and things, you could write really long messages. It's just something about this frequency, seraphim frequency, being channeled through you, and it's also channeled through your voice. Therapists, hypnotherapists, your voice carries seraphim's frequency. And why I find the most interesting about seraphim's frequency when it's carried vocally is that it has an element of hypnotism in it, hypnosis. It carries a vibration that sends brains into the frequency of theta state. And so when you speak, what you're saying to people integrates deeper into their subconscious, because seraphims are this very beautiful energy. There's actually a lot of seraphims incarnated as magi's or hypnotists. You guys also as a seraphim practice self-hypnosis. This can be seen as the reprogramming you've done. You can also attune the vibration of your cells with your voice. You guys, there's a lot of healing energy you carry to your voice, especially when you're connecting to the seraphim's frequency. Now, this is to be noted because we can speak from different vibrational centers or planes. When we're speaking from the seraphim's frequency, we're speaking from our heart space. We're speaking from pure, unconditional love. And you may find that your voice tone changes when you're speaking from that place. Like right now, we are, yes, connecting to the seraphim frequency, but I'm really speaking from a different vibrational place. You can tell because I'm speaking faster. I'm very excited. I'm very passionate about this. This is the best frequency for me to channel to you guys in. But if we were to channel this seraphim's frequency, you know, the voice would be slowed because vibrational energies carry their own tempo. If you are a singer, if you are a speaker, the tempo that you connect to when you're connected to this state of frequency is extremely calming. This is why it's also related to the hypnosis or self-hypnosis, because different energy frequencies have different paces or tempos. Okay, when we're in very high frequencies, we get super excited, our thoughts move fast because there's a lot of charge, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of high tempo. But in different frequencies work at different tempos, and the seraphim's frequency is interesting because if any of you are familiar with brainwave states of frequency, this is more looking at the unknown frequencies like lambda and what's the other one? Lambda waves, and there was another one, and these waves, forgive me because I can't remember the name of the other one, epsilon. Thank you for whoever telepathied that. Epsilon and lambda waves, the least understood brainwaves or least understood frequencies. Why? Because they carry within them the lowest and the highest, and they are a mix of both. It's a very abstract state of frequency, and this is why this seraphim's frequency connects to this as well. That state of consciousness is also really strongly connected to an out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, things like this. So these gateways, these frequencies are really connected through the epsilon and the, is it the lambda brainwaves of frequencies. Some of you who listen to binaural beats, maybe their brainwave frequencies that you listen to. That's very specific for someone. But what were we saying? There's different tempos carried within different frequencies, and we can speak from different energy centers. The place where you're emotionally connected to inside is a vibrational plane, is a state of consciousness. And this is how we channel. This is how, as an earth angel, you channel. Because when you speak from your heart, you're speaking from the seraphim's frequency. And so you may have things that you say that come out of your frequency from that, but there's also many things you channel from this higher seraphim frequency that is almost messages from people's angels or angelic guides, and you're able to channel those because you can connect to the same frequency as those. The same as how you see a lot of the bigger picture or a lot of the divine orchestrations in your path, only because you can tune into the same frequency of the guides orchestrating those to be able to see the interconnectedness or or their method behind the madness, so to speak. So this, let's see. If you have ever woken up hearing your name being sung, The seraphim have visited you. When they come to you, know that you are blessed to be in the presence of angelic beings that emanate directly from the heart source. Their voices will help awaken the angelic presence you hold within so that you can support the expansion of the world. There's been seraphims call your name that you've heard. You guys are clairaudient and they connect with you very clairaudiently. They connect with you most strongly through physical expressions of their frequency, and if their frequency is love and Venus and beauty, then this is going to be seen in things like creations, art, nature, art of nature, like the sky is a painting every day. But they connect to you through music, through instruments as well. Some of you, when you're playing an instrument, they channel with you. You guys are also a seraphim, like we said, yourself, and so some of you could also find a lot of solace in your home frequencies of your seraphim nature, again, like nature, but also things like playing instruments. When you guys are in a flow state of maybe playing an instrument or dancing or singing a song, and you kind of forget you're in your body, or you forget about time, you're in your seraphim frequency, and you're grounding a lot of these seraphim frequencies into this plane of frequency right now. You also, not to be dramatic, you guys, but everything is just a fractalization of a frequency. You are predominantly actually operating from this seraphim's frequency, and it's not like you've operated from many other frequencies too. We have all these roles, all these duties, but you have a very strong connection to this seraphim frequency, and you actually get sent into people's lives as a physical angel. Now, this is not dramatic at all, actually, in the sense that it sounds very, when we say you are a physical angel. It's literally facts by frequency, you guys. You guys get incarnated and align into people's paths who you've been on their spirit team before in other incarnations, and who you're on their spirit team now. You are an incarnated spirit guide. You do work in other dimensional planes at the same time as having this incarnation. And that is why it's so important for us to remember this here, you guys, because we get overwhelmed sometimes with thinking this physical reality is everything. You are doing so much in other dimensional planes that you actually have to hold and carry in this incarnation now as well. Because, again, let's not look at this as a burden. It's that you may not recall or recollect a lot of these things you're doing in the seraphim planes of frequency for a reason. You are meant to have a experience here as a human as well. But it's interesting because you almost take your work home with you, if that makes sense. Because whilst you're in your physical incarnation, maybe you're doing readings like this, or maybe at nighttime you're channeling with people, alchemizing energy for them, or assisting people in telepathic ways that you do consciously in your inner monologue. And so even though you do a lot of seraphim work unconsciously, it's almost as if you do seraphim work consciously as well, because maybe some of you can't remember all the work you're doing unconsciously too, but you just naturally feel called to helping people or something. Because here it says like it says here, you are blessed to be in the presence of angelic beings. Their voices will help you awaken the angelic presence you hold within so that you can support the expansion of the world. There's something you feel called to doing or helping, because your message from this card is you are blessed to receive the light of the seraphim. Know that these blessings of infinite light are singing your name in the heavens to unlock the power of your own voice. Angelic support surrounds you at this time. Know that you are safe, for you are being held by the presence of love. The seraphim are witnessing the glory of your being and activating your angelic qualities. You care deeply about the welfare of the planet and all of her beings. In fact, you are hoping to make a great difference in the world, and the reason for this is you are carrying angelic light. Let your light shine on the world and the people around you and yourself. Because you guys, why you feel like you hope to make a difference in the world or the people around you, or you just feel the importance of spreading love or spreading kindness, preaching about kindness, or being an advocate or a role model of kindness and love frequencies, is because you are an incarnated seraphim and you naturally have these urges in your soul, because for ancient periods of time this was your heart's calling. This was your heart's mission in all different dimensional planes, in all different galaxies, in all different cultures, in all different planetary systems. This is your heart's desire. You connect with the frequencies of love, and the frequencies of love is your home, and you are pouring out this home to everyone around you. Also, why I find this interesting, you guys, is because obviously at certain points of time we are sent into spiritual work here to open us, especially as a seraphim. As a seraphim, we say that we're connected to unconditional love, but our hearts sometimes have to be cracked open to be able to let the light from in the middle shine through the walls and the borders. And so as a seraphim, you may have experienced a lot of grief and heartache this life, your own and things that are not your own. You have held grief that is not your own. You have shed tears that are not yours to cry, okay? You have sighed sighs from the weight of energy that you feel, that you are able to feel, tap into, see and hold, and so you feel a responsibility over these things. We won't get into that journey. That is a whole other reading, because there's a lot of alchemy that you've done in that process of finding that balance. But as a seraphim, we do go through suffering, because your heart, every time it has broken, has cracked open to such a deep, vulnerable place inside of you that is very, very powerful. It's like with great suffering, with great pain comes great depth of feeling, sensitivity, sentimentality. And again, this is not with the toxic belief that we need suffering. It's not that we need suffering, it's that you see maybe suffering differently, because again, grief is love with nowhere to go. So if seraphims are the holders of love, that's within all planes of frequency, and there's a lot of love within this earth that has nowhere to go, and that has turned into grief, that has turned into fear. All of the fear we see around us, all of the anger, all of the grief, all of the hatred, this source core of those frequencies is love. Again, because when we break up with someone, you know, we get angry, well, I hate this person. Well, you don't really hate them, it's that you love them, and you don't know what to do with that love anymore, because they're not there to receive it, they're not accepting it anymore. And it's like the same thing. So if you're a seraphim, you work with the frequencies of love. You are a love angel, you guys. Maybe some of you really resonate with the fact that a lot of your important angelic a lot of the important angelic work you've done, like say for example with people who you are strongly on their spirit team, you may have realized that they've incarnated into relationship roles with you. Some of you have had relationship dynamics, like romantic dynamics with incarnated vessels who you are seraphims for. And it's very interesting because some of these relationships towards the end could have turned very platonic, or some of these relationships at the end could have felt mother and child like, or could have felt maybe like parent like, or could have felt maybe at the end, like of the contracts, we get the veils lifted. We're like, why were we ever with this person? Sorry, not in a horrible way, but it's that you genuinely get angelic contracts with particular people who you're a seraphim for, and you work with the love frequencies. So you activate people through your love. And think about it this way. Love can be shared. You share love, deep unconditional love, with your soul tribe, your family, your friends. Love is not just a romantic thing. Well, as a seraphim, you get to learn that, right? As a seraphim, you learn that there is one pure frequency of love, and you know, sexuality, that's different to the pure frequency of, like, desire, lust is different to love. Pure unconditional love's the same. It can be felt for all things, not just romantic connections. But in this 3D paradigm, a lot of people are only used to receiving that particular pure frequency of love through relationships. So you were sent in a lot of people's past to, one, show them what a pure seraphim frequency of love is, whether that's platonic, friendship, romantic, or animal. You were also incarnated in a lot of people's past to awaken the depths of their capacity in which they can experience, feel, or perceive the frequencies of love, and to activate this heart chakra awakening too. either through, you know, contracts of heartbreak that maybe you had to endure and like break someone's, or vice versa, you guys. There's a lot of spiritual contracts to do with romance or love in all shapes and forms for you this life because of this seraphim frequency. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Never resonate with them. If something doesn't agree with you, it means you don't resonate. It means it wasn't that message wasn't for you. So we're going to have to leave this reading here. I could go on about this for ages. The main message, you guys, is that you're connected to the seraphim frequency. And now that we've opened this gateway, I hope that throughout the day you get more downloads of this from your seraphim angel, because there is a particular one working closely with you. They could be assisting you within your life purpose, your path within sharing these love frequencies. Again, through your voice is very healing. Again, this is on a personal or like global level. Like, you already do this work without trying because of the people who come into your path not in your control. But there's so many contracts and work that you've done. And again, you will continue to get downloads about this throughout your day, throughout your duration of time, because this is a very big this is a very big aspect of your frequency right now. And like we said in the last reading, you shift between different dimensional planes. This is the plane you've just shifted to, okay? You're connected to all of them, but there's predominantly a particular frequency plane moving forward to the forefront of your conscious. And this frequency plane is the frequency plane of the seraphims. A lot of you could be feeling very sentimental at the minute, connected to your more gentle, vulnerable nature. Some of you could just be feeling very, very, gentle and vulnerable. I don't know how to say that or experience that. Very open and receptive in the heart, very empathic. You're really, really connecting with this frequency right now. So be gentle with yourself. You may find yourself wanting to slow down, wanting to be lost in this dreamy energy, because that's naturally who you are as a seraphim, connected to these realms of love. And again, as a seraphim, you know, deeply feeling and seeing all of the love frequencies here that have been not distorted, but that have evolved into ways that maybe is not their purest form, like anger and fear. You know, these are mutations from the love that once was. And so maybe as a seraphim, you even see that in this world. Like, you may see there's so much love in this world, and maybe a lot of that love you see as pure love frequency, or you still see that love frequency within the fear, within the anger. But you guys are alchemists. So meaning, as a seraphim, you have the power to change frequencies of fear and anger back into their pure original state. You have the ability to turn things to their pure original state, and this is not only with frequencies, this is about healing, you guys. Something returning to its original frequency. So original core frequency. You connect people back to their core root frequency. There's something about reversing energy effects, or, you know, following things back to their root, reprogramming. There's something about you able to nurture things back to their pure frequency, or their core frequency, or their frequency origin. You're able to trace things back to their frequency origin. You're able to alchemize things back to their frequency of origin, okay? Because it's like, we have all these different frequencies. There's an origin to all these frequencies, and the origin is love. You're also able to translate people's frequencies back to their origin of the frequencies you feel inside of them, particular starseed races, past life incarnations, connections of energy. Anyway, that's what's coming through, beautiful souls. I'll leave this reading here before it gets ridiculously long, but I love you so much. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being here as a seraphim. Thank you for being here in general, because knowing that there's other seraphims incarnated here in this plane makes me feel really safe, because a lot of seraphims have assisted me in random times. Like, I get locked out the house, then suddenly a seraphim just appears who's walking in the same door that lets me in, you know, or your car breaks down and all of a sudden a seraphim's, you know, at the side of a road, or asking if you're okay, do you need help, do you need assistance. They're all around us, you guys, these little seraphim, and you seem to attract them, and you seem to be one as well. So I love you so much, and I will see you all in the next reading. Mwah.